Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, it is finally time to fill up our alien gut buckets. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including another new Galar region Pokemon for everyone to adore, and we do very much adore him. And then on Thursday, we are going to be drafting our perfect RPG parties from Nintendo characters. But in the meantime, Mark, how are you?
I'm doing so good. Patrick, I'm looking at your deck of Sabacc cards.
Yes.
From Star Wars Galaxy Edge.
Yep, that's right.
Registered trademark.
That's right. Well, if we're registering the trademark, let's get the name right. It's Galaxy's Edge. It's
of
possessive.
Course. It's the edge of the galaxy.
Right. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not to refer to the edge of multiple galaxies. It is singular galaxy apostrophe S possessive edge. Yes, I got a set of Sabacc cards. I was reading the rules, and they don't make sense. To the point where I went online and was like, let's see what the Sabacc Reddit has to say about this. There is no Reddit quite that specific, so get on it, Reddit people. But there does seem to be some disagreement about how one of the normal choices, normal moves in the game is actually supposed to work.
Well, allow me to paint a picture for people, because I saw these cards last week after you had just come back from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Thank you.
And looking at today, because it is the beginning of fall, I was like, oh, is this like a coffin or something?
Right.
Because it is shaped like, wait, coffin or casket? Coffin. It's shaped like a coffin. Because coffins
Except it's like perfectly symmetrical. Like a coffin, I feel like is more the top side of it is wider.
Oh,
right?
sure. Or like, yes,
because
that's where your shoulders would be.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or, and by yours, I mean a dead person.
No, and it was a threat.
Nosferatu, very
That's
broad
right.
shoulders.
Famously, Nosferatu, famously broad-shouldered.
An important distinction between a coffin and a casket.
Right, because a casket, that's just a rectangle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a coffin is, like what what a Dracula would sleep in.
Like what a Dracula sleeps in.
You guys know. I'm not really painting a picture, other than just to tell you to imagine what you already know to be true.
That this is the shape of the Sabacc deck as it sits standing upright on my what is that, a desk?
Yeah, but again, to really paint the picture, because as you pointed out, Patrick, a casket, where your shoulders would go, where Nosferatu's shoulders would go,
That's right.
is higher up. This is if Nosferatu had really wide hips.
Sure, or if Nosferatu was also Quasimodo.
Yes. Which,
yes.
that's a great idea for a movie.
What if Nosferatu was also Quasimodo?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I'm buying it. I'm there. Speaking of I'm buying it and I'm there, my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. You know you want to borrow it. And you can. All you got to do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com with a mailing address. This doesn't have to be the address where you live. I get that that's weird. Maybe it's a place where you go to school or where you work or a P.O. box where you pick up mysterious packages. That's fine. I send it there. You play the game as long as you want. You send it back to us. Costs you
nothing.
Nothing.
It's the perfect program, except that it involves Sonic Forces. It's the one hiccup.
That's right.
In an otherwise perfect program.
But I think we can overlook that and still consider the program perfect. By the way, it's been sitting here for 2 weeks. I need to send it out to someone. Speaking of things that you need to send out or that need to be sent out in general, your Super Mario Maker 2 levels, we want to play them.
Yeah, we love playing them. We love when you send them in.
Mm-hmm.
We have a level this week.
Yes, we were tweeted a level at Borland Corp, sent us a level based on the first dungeon in Link's Awakening. And I don't know what I was expecting expecting necessarily. I think I thought it was going to be more of like a thematic nod to it, or like have similar puzzle elements.
Which I feel like is usually when you see one of these levels that says like, oh, it's a recreation of X.
Yeah.
It usually is more like inspired by.
Yeah, unless it's, especially if you're going from any other genre to Mario.
Right.
I did the Doki Doki Panic Super Mario Brothers 2 World 1-1, and I kind of did that like one for one. But like this level was a surprising like almost one for one recreation that like I knew where I was in the geometry of the level because I was familiar with Link's Awakening.
And just like really used the Mario Maker tools in interesting ways to like lay out the dungeon, like the part where once you get the rock feather, or in this case just like Mario's cape feather,
which we referred to as the rock feather as we were talking our way through the level.
And then you now that you have it, you can hit that one block that shoots the fire, that sets the bomb off. Like, it was just really cool. It was really well thought out and very long, like in a way that I feel like, again,
we ran out of time.
Yeah, and these like one-to-one levels normally aren't. I feel like they're usually not this faithful.
Yeah. So that was super fun. Check that out. We will leave the the code for the level in the episode description. Also, one more thing I wanted to draw attention to that's sort of like off our normal program here is that 8-Bit Betty, the man who does the music for our show, is putting out a new single this week, tomorrow. So you can't check it out now, but tomorrow he's putting out a new song. And obviously you listen to, I don't know, like maybe 2 minutes worth of 8-Bit Betty twice a week. So like go check out his stuff. He's on Twitter at 8-Bit Betty Music. He's also on Facebook, and his website is just 8bitbetty.com. So check all that out. I'm so excited to hear new 8-Bit Betty music. That is one of the reasons that I commissioned him to do the music for this show. Was I just wanted more of his music in the world, and it's here. All right, Mark, let's hear some sweet 8-Bit Betty music and get into what we've been playing.
I think we've both been playing some Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening.
You could say that I've been playing some of it, yes. On Thursday night, I crashed real early. I don't know why. I had like a little bit of a headache, was just sort of tired. I had done 2 days at Disney earlier in the week, so I think that was all just like catching up with me. So I was down by like 9:30, right? And then I woke up, as as happens when you go to bed too early, at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, what do I do with this time? I'm awake now. I suppose I could have worked. But I was like, no, forget it. I will play Link's Awakening. 3 dungeons later, I go to bed.
Oh, nice.
So it is about at that 3 dungeon mark where my like automatic recall of the game starts to fade away. And I have to like work on the puzzles myself. Long story short, I rolled credits on it this morning.
Very nice. How long do you think it took you?
I don't know, maybe like 9 or 10 hours.
Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus. I have not made it that far yet, so I am where you made it the first night.
Yeah,
the first
baby.
Morning. I just got the 5 golden feathers for Richard.
Oh yes,
and am in that next dungeon.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's a fun. It's like the game isn't too. The dungeons aren't too obtuse yet at that point. I do think that by the like 7th and 8th dungeons, that they're real noodle scratchers where you got to be like, wait, where am I going here? I'll tell you something I did for the first time ever. I played the color dungeon, which is available only in the DX release of this, originally for the Game Boy Color. Which is a really simple dungeon. All the puzzles are color-based, which I'm sure was novel on the Game Boy at the time. But, as just like it was like a fun little like extra thing that I could do after already completing the game.
Do you think that this game, because really this is the first time that we've seen, I think truthfully, a Nintendo game that probably previously would have been on handheld, I'm not counting Sushi Strikers, for the full $60.
Yeah.
And I'm only a few hours into it, but I'm totally enjoying it. Like, I think it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Oh, so that's the end of the question.
That was a question. Yeah.
I mean, I also find it to be definitely worth it. Because I guess the other side of it was like, if this was a 3DS game, it would have been at a $40 price point. And like, would I rather pay $40 for it? Yeah, I guess. But that game's not going to look as nice as this game.
Yeah,
it's not going to sound as nice as this game. Previous guest Greg Smith and I were texting about the music in this game, and he helped me articulate something that had been bothering me for a while. People have been saying that the score for the game is fully orchestrated, which is kind of true, but it is more accurately arranged for a very small chamber orchestra. And specifically, the main overworld Zelda theme is performed by just a string quartet. So it sounds so transparent. Like, you can hear every single layer, and everything is just so well articulated. It's just great. The music is so good.
So last night I was playing, and I couldn't tell if that's just how it was supposed to be or if it was like some weird glitch. Like, in the dungeon, it feels there's like a hard stop
on the music.
Yeah, and then it like starts to loop again, but every time it feels like a mistake to me.
I mean, that's interesting, because like, the dungeons are probably the place where you are playing with the same music cue for the longest. So maybe it's happening everywhere and you just don't like hear the natural end of those music loops. Because like, if you are in Maybe Village, or however it's pronounced, it goes through like a number of different like arrangements of that texture before it like has to start over again. But usually by that point, you've gone into a house, or you've gone into the field, or into the forest, or down to the beach, and the music has changed. So I wonder if that's really like a symptom of that you hear the end of the loop.
Yeah, maybe. It was really bothersome. And I mean, whatever, it didn't matter that much, but it was very noticeable.
It bothered Mark.
The other thing I think is really interesting is, obviously they made a lot of quality of life improvements, but this game is very much a recreation of the Game Boy game.
Totally.
Kind of to a fault almost. Like, there's some areas where I'm surprised that they didn't make changes. Like, one of the things that's annoying to me about the Game Boy game is before you get like the I always call it the power glove, but the power bracelet.
Yeah.
And you can lift things like pots. Every time you try to lift one, you get the same dialogue.
Is that the one that starts, huh?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then like, same with every time you pick up, what are they called? Like the extra shield power up, or like the extra.
There's like the defense acorn and like a Triforce of power. Or something.
Yeah, like it makes you see the dialogue box every time, which was something that happened on the Game Boy game. I just don't understand why we also have to do it here.
So it is a little bit improved here in that in all of those cases, is all those chunks of forced dialogue box is just one box. In the original release, it was two, so you had to like scroll through
and you
text.
can press B and it like reveals all the text immediately and like all that kind of stuff. I don't know, obviously doesn't get in the way of my enjoyment of the game. There's been a lot of to-do about the frame rate, which I think is definitely noticeable, and it happens at like weird times.
Yeah.
Like, you go into one of the rooms.
Unfortunately early, too.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much going on in the initial town. Like, there's like smoke coming out of chimneys, and there's a lot of grass. It's the same thing that Breath of the Wild got hung up on, too, where it's like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of leaves of grass blowing around. Like, that's not, it can't calculate it or something.
But the thing that's like weird to me is that it happens at times that I find inexplicable. Because, like, when a lot is happening on screen, I totally understand that. But also, you like go into the little tree houses where there's the phone, and the frame rate suddenly drops to like 30 frames per second.
Yeah, so I think that has something to do with the lighting in those rooms, because there are like little particle effects like behind the phone, which, I mean, like, this is it is causing the game to perform like not flawlessly in these areas. All of the spaces are so lovingly decorated.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful game.
I mean, there's like, everyone's got like a pot of soup on, and like there's so much. The game already had personality on the Game Boy, and they just have done such a nice job of fleshing out that personality in every little visual detail. And having been now all over the island and kind of a bunch of times because I'm trying to get all of the seashells and all the heart
which
pieces.
there's more of now. There's like 50 instead of the 25 of the original. 30.
I think
like
there
that?
were 30 in the original, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, I'm having a great time, like really poking around and like forcing myself to see all the details of the world.
I was so hyped for this game, and it's definitely lived up to that. I'm just really loving being in this version of Hyrule.
Well, Koholint.
Yes.
Also this weekend, I played a little bit of Tetris 99 because, hey, I guess there was a Tetris Maximus Cup this weekend.
I think it got announced in between our news episode and Friday.
Yeah, or possibly we recorded news early this week. So it is possible that we missed that announcement, but it is a Kirby. What's the name of this new Kirby game? I don't remember. I didn't write it down. So the like free to play or free to start Kirby game. So it is based on that theme. Luckily, it is like generic enough that it just reads as like a Kirby theme.
Is it cute?
Yeah, it's super cute, and it plays the Kirby music, and when you lose, it goes which is great. And also in playing it and getting the theme, I unlocked some gem apples. So.
I don't know what that means.
It means it's like the premium currency.
Oh, it's the currency in the Super Clash?
I mean, maybe.
Kirby
Super Clash?
I don't think that's right. But it could be.
Here's the thing.
It will be eventually.
It definitely will be. That will be the name of a Kirby game if it is not already. I was working in my head on how to get out a how do you like gem apples?
I like that a lot.
But I didn't succeed, so...
I also picked up Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Very good.
Which is a game that I was looking forward to. I think it's aesthetically really nice. I like the idea of it. I am not that far. I only played like the first 4 levels while I was waiting for Link's Awakening to unlock Thursday night at 9 p.m. But I am not really glomming onto it.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know what it is. So...
Can you talk a little bit about what the game is?
Yeah, so it has kind of like a loose story around it. You play as a woman who goes through like a terrible breakup, and then kind of like transforms into an alter ego, I would say. And so you're like going through different environments. It's like an on rails rhythm game.
Okay.
And really the of what I have played,
I believe they call that the highway. Like in Guitar Hero.
And basically what the gameplay seems to be so far is like you're going through this level, there's music, but my experience, and maybe I'm really bad at this game, is that it's like the actions you're taking or like where you're directing your character doesn't really seem to be timed to the music all that well.
Oh, interesting.
Or all that closely, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's like gems or items that you're like picking up to increase your score.
Yeah, gem apples, yeah.
And so there's like 3 rails usually, and so you're trying to determine like which rail you should be in to get the most gems. And then occasionally there are like action sequences with other characters that at that point you are like pushing the A button in rhythm to it. So I really love the aesthetics. One knock against the game, and it's just my personal preferences. I hate games that grade you at the end, and I know it's supposed to encourage you to do better, like right. Do better and like go back and play again. I just haven't found the gameplay that interesting to make me want to go back or even really to go forward. It might just be like, for whatever reason, it's not clicking for me because a lot of people seem to really like this game. And I do think that aesthetically, like it's right up my alley, but it just didn't like deliver whatever I was looking for out of it.
Yeah. Do you think that like it's just going to take you being in like a different mindset? Do you think you'll go back to it, or is like
I think I'll try to press on and see if like the levels get more like interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it is tough. We're going to get to some the new releases here in a minute, and the calendar is loaded. So like, if it misses this window, that might be its last chance at grabbing your attention.
I'm glad I checked it out because I was interested in it. I think if someone is interested in it and you own an iOS device, I would just get like the month free trial of Apple Arcade and play it there.
Yeah.
And if you really like it, you can pick it up on Switch later or something.
What did it cost you on Switch?
I
Do you
think
remember?
$15.
Okay, not terrible.
Yeah.
Not super cheap either, though.
I also picked up Untitled Goose Game, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Oh man,
I'm just excited to play it eventually.
That is another one that I'm also excited to play eventually. And when we get to the new releases, we'll see why. I'll probably never get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But another game that I have played a little bit this last week is Fire Emblem Three Houses, which remains an excellent game. We've gotten a couple emails about people's experiences with Fire Emblem, one from Dustin and one from Lewis. And Dustin, thank you, Dustin, for writing in as you frequently do. Wrote us a long email. So I'm going to address. So we're going to address pieces of this. So he has discrete headings. Thank you, Dustin, for being very clear on this. He said under the heading Playtime. I just finished the Battle of Eagle and Lion in Fire Emblem, just like Mark. That said, I looked at our playtimes, and somehow Mark has been playing for about 10 hours, and I'm at over 40. Evidently, I am wasting a lot of time, but I'm really enjoying this game and trying to make the most of it. Except the tea parties, those felt stressful to make sure that you pick the right options in conversation.
So stressful.
I did one, felt awkward the whole time, and have never gone back.
Even, let me tell you, as somebody who has used a guide because I want to get these perfect tea parties,
yeah.
I have not found a good guide.
No, well, because sometimes I think it gives you 3 bad options, and I think that's just like luck of the draw.
Mm-hmm.
It's my buddy Andrew, who we talked about on the show last week, has all of the Korok seeds in both the regular Breath of the Wild and the Master Mode. Is a maniac and is trying to play Three Houses right now, and he's been texting me like, wait, should I do this or should I do this? Should I do this or should I do this? And I think one of the things to let go of in this game is the idea of like a perfect playthrough or like optimizing, especially early on. Like just let yourself make some of the mistakes, and like, yeah, maybe that's like stressful or whatever, but I think like finding success in like tea parties and stuff like that is just doing them and knowing that they're not all going to be perfect.
And I also, this very much to me feels like a game that is meant to be replayed multiple times.
Yeah.
That you're not going to be able to do it all. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do it all or see it all in one playthrough. I'm curious. I'm interested to know how Dustin has been able to do it, has been able to play for 40 hours. I wonder if some of that is just like, I am playing all the battles on like easy mode, and I'm basically just like auto battling through a ton of it. So I think that speeds it up a lot. I also wonder if you are doing exploration every day, like every opportunity. And also, like,
I'll jump in here.
Okay,
with
the
part
do.
Of, under the heading of exploring, Dustin says, I have a feeling that this is where I'm spending too much time, or so much more time than Mark. Each time I explore, I make sure to go through every corner of the explorable space. How are you both handling this? For some reason, it feels like I would be missing out on things if I didn't explore everywhere in the monastery each month. I might not get all the items, might miss out on part of the story, etc. Maybe this is not really required, though. Thoughts? So I do once a month. I do the explore the monastery, and I hit up. I look at the map and see where there are like the 3 dots of like someone has something to say to me, and I pick up found items along the way. And if I have a specific goal, like there's a tournament that I want someone to participate in, or if I know I want to fish, then I engage in that. Otherwise, I kind of don't spend too much time in the monastery, and after the time jump it becomes way less necessary.
And I was gonna ask, it does continue after the time jump, though, like you have the opportunity, so
in one form or another. I don't want to give away exactly what it is.
I think I split the difference between you and Dustin. Like, exploration of the monastery is kind of my favorite part, but
it's so fun.
But I definitely don't like scour every corner of the map every time. Like, I don't talk to every character every time. I kind of just like get my fill, and then once I've used my action points, and like the sun goes down and it plays the chimes or whatever, then I'm usually like wrapping things up and calling it a day. Like, I don't linger too long, so I'm sure that's definitely part of it, because you could spend a really long time if you were trying to talk to like every person. Yeah,
and really like trying to figure out how to maximize everything. Yeah, it's there's a lot that as I'm deeper in the game now that I almost wish I had like reprioritized some of my time, but not in a way I think that's detrimental. like I know I've seen videos of people scrolling through their what do they call it, the lineup of characters, your class. I forget what it's called, whatever. But they have all they've recruited everyone, and like that's attractive in that like completionist sort of way. But I don't really think that the game needs to be played that way. Like having your own experience of it and recruiting the people that you got to recruit is cool. It means like that's the way that you played the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. To me, it would be difficult unless you really wanted to devote the time. Like this game to me feels like the optimal way to do it is just like curate a group of people that you want to really like have an experience with.
Yeah.
And trying to do that with everybody, just it doesn't seem like you would really be getting the most that this game has to offer.
Yeah, totally. Also, that could be where a lot of time goes too. One of the headings in Dustin's email here is recruiting. We're doing a pretty good job of answering this question now. But he mentions that he was only able to recruit two characters, one from Black Eagle, one from Golden Deer, Raphael and Casper. Respectively. Good picks, by the way. Casper's my boy. I'm playing in Golden Deer, and I was like, yes, I want to recruit this guy. And Raphael, come on, he's so big.
Gotta love Raphael.
Can't fit in that shirt.
I can't fit in that coffin.
He's got wider shoulders than Nosferatu.
Who has famously wide shoulders.
Yeah, and then Dustin also asked a question about classes, and this is another where I think he's maybe being too thorough. He says, before I started the game, I found a guide on what class options I had. Then I mapped each of my house's students to one of the master classes. Then I set my goals for each student on a path toward these final classes. I'm not sure this is the most optimal way to build a team, but I felt like it would be a fun way by ensuring I got to try each of the unit types. What are your favorite types of classes?
I think as long as you're having fun, do whatever you want.
Totally.
For me, I've 100% just been like, this sounds like I haven't looked up anything about the classes. So I'm just like, as they come up, like, this sounds cool. Like, do this. When people are like, I want to change my goal. I want to become this, like a Pegasus man or whatever they're called instead. I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah. Follow your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is a fun give and take to, like sometimes when they're like, I want to change my goals, you're like, all right, great, who cares? Yeah, do it. And then other times being like, no, I have plans for
exactly. You are a thief and you shall always be a thief.
Once you were born a street rat and you'll die a street rat. I am really enjoying my Raphael right now. Is I think it's called War Master. It's like the brawler class, leveled up like to the highest. And he almost always hits 4 times, which I love. And his critical hit rating is like 35% or something like that. So he's usually killing everyone. And he also, his armor class is high enough that he has, I think it's called like Focus Heal or something. He can heal up to 50% of his hit points by just using a battle thing.
Are you playing online? Like, are you connected online when you're playing?
Yeah,
because you know how like in loading screens it'll be like, oh, the people who were sent on missions the most this month, and to me, some of those people are like, I'm like, how is like. I can't think of a character like off the top of my head, but some of like the characters I'm like, I'm not using them at all. What's going on? Like, they're not even on my radar.
Yeah, well, I mean, different people use different characters. Okay, thank you, Dustin, for writing in. We have one more email that is not quite as long, still on the subject of Fire Emblem 3 Houses. This is from Lewis. Hey, guys. Like both of you, I have been truly obsessed with 3 Houses since it came out, but I have been deeply troubled by a looming specter that grows closer with every hour. Hopefully you can take this decision entirely out of my hands, or at least provide some insight. I speak, of course, to the choice of romance for Byleth. Nearing the end of the game, I have lots of options at S rank, but 3 have particularly captured my affections. Can you help me decide between Sylvain, Hanneman, and Sedith? Lewis is playing as the female Byleth. So none of these would be my choice. Would be my main choice. These are all like the people in the monastery and or teachers.
Sylvain's a student, right?
Oh, Sylvain. Yes, Sylvain is a student. So that's the answer. Sylvain.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not Hanneman.
No, boo.
He's like a weird, creepy old man. And Sedith, come on. That guy's just going to be mad at you for like creeping on his sister.
Be so mad.
So that's we have spoken. The answer, of course, is Sylvain. Mark, this has been the longest of this segment that we've ever done. Let's get into the new releases.
And oh wow, are there a lot of new releases?
Yeah, here's another long segment.
We're really in the thick of it. Okay.
Not a lot of news though, so
today
balances out.
September 24th.
In the year of our Lord 2019, let it be noted.
Shakedown Hawaii
is
coming out on the 3DS eShop, which need we remind you, you can't buy anything with your credit card on the eShop anymore.
That's right. Effective September 1, you are no longer able to buy anything with your credit card on the 3DS eShop. If you want to buy Shakedown Hawaii on the 3DS eShop, you have to buy points some other way.
I don't get it. Also out today, Dead by Daylight,
right?
Contra Rogue Corps. That's why everybody get your alien gut buckets out.
Right. Okay, let's actually recap this a little bit because
we keep saying that like it's a thing people should remember,
and no one should. You and I glommed onto it, but I have not seen anyone else on the internet repeat it.
No, we're the only people with alien gut bucket tattoos across our guts.
That's right. It is one tattoo that we share. Mine says alien gut, and Mark says bucket. No, it's not alien gucket. Wait, are we missing a person? When this game was revealed for during the Nintendo Direct at E3, it looked gross, and part of the gross like ad copy for it was like, blow open your alien gut bucket. And we were like, huh? So alien gut bucket, live with it, or
Yeah, Contra's a franchise that I don't have any love for, and I feel like nobody really does anymore. Like I think people
do
nostalgia for the old games,
and this game looks nothing like those
at all.
It's like a top-down,
like team-based.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. Anyways,
really,
that's out.
Really, really down on that game.
Although I still hold that the person who wrote the line "alien gut bucket" should be a millionaire.
The one who wrote it on our chests.
That person is a millionaire,
right?
Because we had to pay them $1 million to do it. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2: Jedi Outcast is released. I think it's like $20 or something. So I'm kind of like interested if there was not so much else coming out right now.
Right.
September 25th on Wednesday, Mario Kart Tour is available on your mobile device.
Also, if you have it pre-ordered or whatever, Nintendo mobile games have been popping early, so it is possible that it will be available at some point today.
Right, yeah. Who knows? And then on September 26th, Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition.
I wish they wouldn't do that. Those puns I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not worth the work.
Yeah, that's right.
September 27th, Dragon Quest 11S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition is released for Switch, a day that I've been simultaneously looking forward to and dreading because I still have Link's Awakening.
Yep.
I still have Fire Emblem Three Houses.
You bet.
I still have Untitled Goose Game, but I really want to play this game.
So Goose Game you can knock out in like an hour and a half, but also just skip ahead. Yeah, I'm very excited about Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition coming out on Switch. As is well established on the show, I have tried this game, or like the original release of this on PlayStation, and got kind of hung up on the music and the fact that I had to be in front of my TV to play it all the time. I feel like this is going to unlock all of the secret joys of this game. And I'm very much looking forward to playing
all the footage I've seen, like, it looks really beautiful on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like they didn't have to do that much of a downgrade. Plus, it has, like, the 16-bit version.
Yeah.
All the orchestrations, all the voice acting. I'm
16-bit version.
Really looking forward to this. Also, out on the 27th, Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition is released, as well as Dragon Quest 2, and Dragon Quest 3 are all being released on the eShop.
Yes, and if we had mentioned that those first three games were coming out or talked about them before, they had been announced for Japanese release, and then probably on the Monday between when we recorded the news episode and released the news episode, they were announced for North America. Do any of those do anything for you?
I strongly recommend Dragon Quest 3.
Oh, okay.
I think you would love it. It's an amazing game. I mean, all of them are good. Dragon Quest kind of.
I mean, I played the original.
Dragon Quest 3 is so good. I think you would really enjoy it. And I think it would be fun for you to like discover a 8-bit RPG that like you haven't played before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like that is a kind of experience that I want to have like all the time. So the fact that I'm like that I could have that sort of in concert with a Dragon Quest 11 experience is very exciting to me.
Also on September 27th is FIFA 2020 or just 20? No, I guess it is 2020. Whatever, you get the idea.
The new FIFA, okay? Mark, when are we going to play all these games?
I don't know. Like, I am legitimately stressed out with the amount of games that I want to play and the limited amount of time that I have to play them.
All right, let's close out this segment. Now it's time for a regular segment on this show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Summer is over.
It's fall.
It is currently fall.
So let's rank the seasons.
Okay. Normal rules. We will come to an agreement.
That's
this
right.
list will be definitive, and we will remain friends afterwards.
I mean,
what do you think?
I'm going to throw out what I think is an easy number 4. An easy low point is winter.
Winter.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that is it's a low hanging fruit. I grew up in Wisconsin, so I think I have to back that play. That winter is the worst.
The only thing that people like about winter, with good reason, is the holiday season.
And snow. I think people like snow.
I think people like the idea of snow.
And they like it as it's falling gently.
Uh-huh.
And you hear the Edward Scissorhands soundtrack in your head.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But
it can also kill you.
It can also kill you.
Which
it gets
summer
dirty.
can
really.
too.
Summer, yes. Look, summer
might be number
either.
3. Might be number 3.
I think 100% because those are both extremes, right?
Yeah.
You have the extreme of winter and you have the extreme of summer. Summer, I think, has a better connotations because of like summer break,
Hot Girl Summer.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
Famously released in summer.
Sure. Look, and there's always a song of the summer, which just means here's a fun song that came out.
Right. Like summer has like a fun connotation. So yes, are we killing the earth and the sun is going to destroy us, or the winter is going to destroy us?
What's happening
of course. But
right.
I think summer is more fun than winter.
Absolutely. And even though like winter is loaded up with holidays,
but that's because
but also not technically, right? I guess like it really just has Christmas and New Year's
and like
Valentine's Day,
right? And like civil rights, like day, like
sure,
depending.
Sure.
But no, totally. I mean, Christmas just barely gets in under
just
the wire.
Squeaks in, yeah.
Right. And so usually you're thinking like, oh, winter, great. We've had like Christmas and we've had New Year,
Year's.
and like it must be spring soon, right? No,
not
winter
for
just
a long time.
started.
Oh my gosh,
it's endless.
And then you don't see the sun for like 3 months, depending on where you live.
Okay, so winter,
that's the bottom.
summer. I am. This one is actually pretty hard for me between fall and spring. I think I'm gonna say spring
At number 2.
at number 1. So fall at number 2.
Okay, so I have them opposite of that, and I'll tell you why. Spring is too wet and too
disagree.
muddy. That is the time of year that I am most likely to track in some mud. And I don't need that. Also, the pollen situation is out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Allergies, no thank you. I would like to, I in the spring I always want to like windows open and like, sleeping without like air conditioning on and without, just like at one with nature. But no, the pollen is out there to mess up your breathing.
Spring is basically like good summer, and
yes.
winter is basically like
good winter.
Or fall is basically
yes.
like good winter. So I like spring because
and a good winter to you.
And to you also. I like spring because we're kind of like on the up track towards summer, like it's getting brighter outside.
Sure, you're not heading towards the worst season.
I think fall, I think fall is the most evocative season, like autumn, right?
Yes.
And because it's getting like colder, and it's a little bit wintry, like it's all the fun of wearing scarves and jackets without like the freezing cold part of it.
Yeah.
But autumn for me, I think it really depends on where I'm living, because in LA, you don't really have much of a fall.
It's kind of just more summer until it starts to rain.
It's like annoying summer because you're like, but it's October. Why is it still 95 degrees outside?
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say that in Los Angeles, probably I don't really. I mean, what even are our seasons, right?
Right.
All I know is I think summer's probably my least favorite out here. But I hope more holistically, the like leaves turning, the way like nature smells at that time. Uh-oh.
I mean, I think we did it.
I think we did it. I guess we'll always know. So we were accompanied today by the pianist Elliot Schwartz. Thank you, Elliot. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
In an interview with IGN, Zelda series producer Eiji Aonuma said that Shigeru Miyamoto encouraged him to make a game with Super Mario Maker-like gameplay only for Zelda, which is something that I think a lot of fans have wanted since Mario Maker was announced.
Oh yeah, Zelda Maker has long been a like what if, Marvel's what if, but for the real world.
And so the Chamber Dungeons feature in Link's Awakening is meant to address Miyamoto's request. You access this by hanging out with Dampy, which is a lot of fun.
The Gravekeeper. Mark, have you messed around with this feature much?
I haven't. Dampy, was talking to me, and he's like, hey, when you're not so busy, come back. And so I went to his cabin. I was like, oh, what is this going to be? And it was just the Chamber Dungeon thing, which offhand I don't really have a lot of interest in.
So I was playing with it today and kind of really enjoyed it. It is like a severely limited sort of scope, but like he sets these challenges for you where he's like, here are a couple rooms that must be in here. Here must be a place with a treasure chest, and you can fill in like the gaps. And there's no point where the game is like, okay, now go ahead and like do it tile by tile and make your own rooms. And you can't really make puzzles, but you can insert puzzles from dungeons that you've already played. So like it is obviously not a full-featured Zelda Maker or even a full-featured Zelda Dungeon Maker. But I think it has more potential than I am realizing at the moment, and I think more than a lot of other people are giving it credit for.
Can you share these levels?
Not online. You can't. You can save them to Amiibo, and there was a little bit where I was like, should I get a bunch of like Animal Crossing bargain bin Amiibo, load them up with levels, and send them out to our listeners? Like, would that be fun? Listeners, would that be fun?
Oh, actually, when I was in Best Buy last week, and they had, I am not exaggerating, an entire shelf that was all Pichu Amobi. Amobi.
What just happened to Mark? First was that climate thing, and now this?
Pichu Amiibo. Mr. Amobi is my father.
In your defense, you just said two made-up words next to each other.
Literally an entire shelf, just like stock full of them. So, yeah, you could definitely find trash Amiibo out there that we could send to people. That's actually a super fun idea.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll get some Amobi and no, they'll be Amiibo, and then we'll like spray paint them or something. Call them Amobi, and then send them out to you.
Amubu? Also, in an interview with Edge, Aonuma revealed that he always had the dungeon design from Link's Awakening in the back of his mind when working on the 3D dungeons in Ocarina of Time.
So this is a cool little interview. He's talking about so he wasn't working on the Zelda series when Link's Awakening came out and joined for Ocarina, and that more than any of the previous Zelda games, this is the one that sort of like led the design philosophy in making the dungeons in Ocarina of Time. This is cool.
Coinciding with the release of Link's Awakening, Nintendo released 8 Zelda-themed levels in Super Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, so this is neat, and not anything that you would know from just like playing the game. Like there's not a separate tab in the course world where it's like, check out these levels that
right,
Nintendo
or
made.
any sort of like announcement, or
I mean, it was
an
like,
easy place that you can like search for them, or
yeah,
they're like highlighted or listed.
They are not. However, they did release like an image with these 8 levels and their level codes. We will be tweeting that out and putting it on our Facebook page so you can check out 8 new Nintendo-made Zelda-themed levels.
A new Galarian Pokemon has been revealed.
Hurrah!
This time it's a new evolution for the Gen 1 classic Farfetch'd, which is a duck with a green onion.
A leek.
A leek. The new Pokemon is called Surfetch'd.
That's right.
And it's basically Farfetch'd, but his leek is now like a sword.
Yes.
And he also has a really cute shield.
Yeah, so it looks like the sword and shield are made from the same leek.
That he like ripped apart with his great strength.
He's like, now this is a weapon.
The Pokemon was teased in a glitched out image on Pokemon's Twitter account before being revealed last week. He's exclusive to the sword version of the game, as if you needed another reason to get sword.
Yeah, it's why would you get shield at this point?
I mean, I guess maybe they're gonna show a Galarian evolution exclusive to Shield.
I mean, of another like Gen 1 like weirdo like that's
Maybe.
gonna be as appealing.
It's so cute. This game is unbelievably cute.
Yeah, we've talked about this a couple times, but I think the design aesthetic for Sword and Shield is way more coherent, way more cohesive than previous Pokemon games.
Because they were like fun, like Alolan forms.
Yeah.
But across the board, there wasn't anything that like got me as excited.
Right. I mean, there's just the one, and I always forget its name, the Alolan Executor. With the super long neck.
It's like a palm tree.
Yeah, that thing's remarkable. Everything else, garbage.
The Wall Street Journal's Takashi Mochizuki reported that Nintendo was aggressive in pursuing the $199.99 price point for the Switch Lite. Doing so required them to actively cut costs and strongly negotiating with one of their suppliers for a lower price on some component parts, likely referring to the battery.
Is that... So, like in the article goes on to say that Nintendo's trying to sort of own the low price point, the low buy-in part of the market. Does that what is like an Xbox One S cost right now?
I mean, probably like
$250 maybe,
or like probably close to 200. I feel like they're doing deals for that sort of thing all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, especially as we're heading into like the new generation of consoles at the end of next year, and like with Google Stadia being like a 0 buy-in if you want, it's interesting to see them be like to say that like they're holding down the low end or the low price point entry point, but it's still being at $200. I mean, I get it. The Switch is a pretty impressive piece of hardware. It just makes me wonder if it's still so much more expensive than like a 3DS.
Right. I mean, is it really though? Because what was a
2DS was like
2DS is
$80, right?
The original 2DS, but like a new 2DS.
Oh, sure.
Is like what, 130? A 3DS XL, like a new 3DS XL was
maybe 180
or like 150 or something.
Yeah.
Like, right, that's only like a $50 price difference for a remarkably huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Plus, if the regular Switch continues to be $299, you did have to kind of hold the line at that $199 price point, because otherwise the difference. The word I was looking for is difference.
Ding ding.
It would, just becomes like less and less.
Yeah, sure.
The value proposition of the Light becomes less and less.
Or
of the more.
Right, exactly. It becomes less or of the more. So just an interesting point that Nintendo had to really make it happen to bring that thing in at a price point that low.
We were asking a couple of weeks ago about what we can expect from Fire Emblem 3 Houses DLC, and we have some more info about that.
We have more info.
So for free DLC, we're getting a new playable character, Jaritza?
Yeah, Jaritza.
Saying but only in certain routes only.
Yeah, I wonder if he's not available in the Black Eagles scenario.
Also some new support conversations, presumably featuring Jaritza. New activities, new online features. Coming for paid DLC, There's a new playable character, Anna.
Anna, of course, being the merchant that sells you stuff that goes, welcome! She has been a playable character in previous Fire Emblem games and is always a merchant in them. She's the Fire Emblem universe's Cid, basically.
That's awesome. New support conversations, presumably featuring Jaritza. New activities. Oh, wait. I'm repeating
yes.
what we were reading before. So new playable character, Anna. New monastery facilities, which obviously is going to be the sauna.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
New online something. Anna and Jaritza paralogs. New quests around 10. New activities. Oh, yes, obviously sauna. Playing with dogs and cats. New costumes, including maid, butler, and more.
Look.
I'm not, whatever. I'm not judging. It's great.
I'm into it. It was exciting to see. You can put glasses on Byleth now. Like, I'm into it. Whatever the game wants to give me, I'm there for it.
And also new battalions, a maid battalion and a butler battalion.
More
which I
on
love.
this as it develops, of course.
On the topic of paid DLC, the eShop listing for Luigi's Mansion 3 has revealed that there will be paid DLC for that game as well. No details about what that DLC will be at this time, but I actually was reading somewhere that it said, or people were speculating, that it was multiplayer DLC.
Yeah, I read that speculation as well. But
I'm not sure where that was like coming from.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, yeah, it would be cool to just like add floors too, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like, and that may be the kind of thing that like, yes, it would be cool, and they'll just never do it. Just
right.
Like you'll never get a new kingdom in Mario Odyssey. Like that's just not. Game's been out for over a year. Like it's just not gonna happen.
Super NES controllers for use with the SNES Switch Online were made available to order last week. I was very sad. It was like last Tuesday when they became available. By the time I went to buy them, they were temporarily sold out.
Oh, no.
I don't know if they've come back since then.
Yeah.
I have not been able to order any yet. But you have to be a member of, you have to have like a single membership for Nintendo Switch Online. They're $29.99 per controller, and there's a limit of 4 controllers per account.
So when you say single account, excuse me, when you say single account, if you have a family account, can you not?
You might be able to place one order, but it's not like everybody on the family account is able to buy 4 of their own.
Sure, so you're still limited to the 4 for the family account.
If you can buy them at all, which I don't know.
Sure, and it also has to be, I'm pretty sure this is true, it might not be, not during your trial period. So if you started the Switch Online so that you could play the Super NES games, and we're like, oh, I'll get the free month first, that doesn't count.
I think it's only a week.
Is it only a week?
I think you only get a free 7 days.
That makes sense. So, you know, it's only a week off. That's really interesting. I didn't know that they were sold out, at least for some period of time.
Yeah, like I haven't checked, I guess, in the past couple of days, but pretty regularly last week I was checking to see if they had any more available, and they didn't at the time. So if somebody bought 4, and I would totally buy one from you.
Yep. You can email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com and let us know.
And finally, this past Monday, September 23rd, yesterday, marks Nintendo's 130th birthday. So happy birthday, Nintendo.
Happy birthday, Nintendo. I always think it's weird how old this company is.
Yeah. It's pretty old.
It's an old one. Happy birthday, Nintendo. All right, Mark. Let's get out of the news. Oh, boy. All right, Mark. Let's get out of the news.
Just a little extra 8-bit Betty in there for you.
Yeah, that's right. Don't forget to, like I did it on purpose, don't forget to check out his new song. And hey, if you've never listened to 8-Bit Betty music outside of this podcast, like go check it out right now. 8bitbetty.com. He's got 4 albums up there that you can just listen to for free and then toss him a couple bucks or, you know, whatever. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, you can share it on Facebook or Twitter. That sort of thing helps us out tremendously. On Twitter, I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. We also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music at the same place I told you could get it before, 8bitbetty.com, or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers, worshiping Sirfetch'd, and saying thanks for listening.
Ever wanted to hear from the neighbor at 9 Cloverfield Lane? Or what if I told you that Dr. Loomis's worst patient wasn't Michael Myers? I'm Adam Peacock, host of the podcast My Neighbors Are Dead. Join me each week as I talk to the lesser-known characters from your favorite horror films. Each week is an all-new, fully improvised journey into the unknown, featuring friends and luminaries from the worlds of comedy, horror, and beyond.
New episodes every Tuesday on Campfire Media. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Campfire.